Today on One Always There.
Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, ECN projects looming elections to be competitive. A call for magistrates to up their game. Underdevelopment frustrates Okahanja Park residents. And Okahanja to host first MTC Derby.
The Electoral Commission of Namibia at the recent Observer Mission briefing for next week Wednesday's Regional Council and Local Authority elections, which will be conducted simultaneously, called on impartiality from election observers, underscoring the competitiveness of these particular elections. Chairperson of the ECN assured the electorate that the Commission is prepared for the expected competitive upcoming elections, noting that up to 18 political parties, 13 associations are contesting in the 121 constituencies and 57 local authority areas, with 522 candidates, of which 92 are independent candidates.
Notable is the unprecedented number of independent candidates and associations taking part in these elections. The Commission expects election observers to act in a professional manner at all times. Professionalism in election observation means that electoral observation practices need to be consolidated, observation techniques need to be systemized, and a standard follow-up and assessment criteria for observed electoral processes needs to be utilized in order to reinforce objectivity and to observe the highest standard of professionalism.
Chief Electoral Officer announced that in all 57 local authority areas, up to 451,870 voters have been registered and 1,408,670 have registered for all 121 constituencies to vote in the regional council elections.
When you go into the specifics per particular local authority, you will be able to see that there are local authorities that are obviously bigger in terms of registered voters than others. We wish to inform you that the notice basically declaring the availability of the final voters registers was gazetted on Monday, the 16th of November 2020. It's a very important requirement of the law. We also want to inform you as observers, and indeed to the entire media nation, that the printing of our voters registers have been completed, and as we speak, the voters registers are being dispatched to all our constituencies and all our local authorities countrywide, together with other sensitive and non-sensitive electoral materials.
Muyoro adds that for the forthcoming elections, 2,187 teams have been deployed on the ground, with 12,197 polling officials, 846 mobile teams for a total of 4,102 polling stations, both fixed and mobile.
You know what makes Christmas so special? It's that little extra. And at Spar, we have thousands of extras. We're granting thousands of Christmas wishes and giving thousands of our customers free shopping, plus thousands in Christmas savings, like Spar Pilchards for only $17.99 and Sunlight dishwashing liquid refill for just $19.99. Spar, the home of 1,000 little extras this Christmas.
The competence of Namibia's justice system has for a long time been questioned by members of society. Justice Minister Yvonne Dausop is therefore urging state magistrates to improve their service delivery and to change the face of magistracy through balancing independence and accountability. Magistrates are key players in the court system, as their role is to ensure that justice is administered fairly and impartially. It is therefore imperative that magistrates undergo the right training to ensure court proceedings run smoothly as well as timely.
Everyone is concerned, once I go to court, how long will it take for me or my case to be finalized? We don't want, and we have seen many instances of that, we don't want to see a situation where people die while they're waiting for justice. And we know the common adage of justice delayed is justice denied. We must reconceptualize what that means, and that's a discussion for another day. But I wanted to say speed is important. The second is reasonableness, and reasonableness is also linked to time, but it's also the manner in which we conduct ourselves when we are in court. I'm now talking to judicial officers, people who are supposed to be transformers and agents of change within the justice paradigm. So reasonableness is the other terminology that must describe or tell us what justice looks like.
This year's annual Magistrates Conference will be focusing on defending and upholding the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia and ensuring that the rule of law prevail. The conference is meant to catalyze the reforms in the magistracy.
We chose to gather here for us to confer, to consult with our partners, with our stakeholders, with our magistrates, so that we can learn from one another, and for us who have to implement the changes to appreciate that change, although it's a painful thing, it's a necessary thing.
Judicial officers are reminded to be conscious of how they balance the privilege of independence with the responsibility of accountability. By the end of the conference, judicial officers are expected to be equipped with the requisite skills and wisdom to be able to discern between challenging decisions while executing their judicial discretion faithfully.
My vote is a gateway to opportunities.
My vote is a reflection of my aspiration.
My vote expresses my versatility.
If you are 18 years old and a registered voter, make the first time count. Get to the polls on the 25th November 2020 and vote for the candidate, political party or organization of your choice in the regional council and local authority elections. Make your mark with a cross on the ballot. Do what is right and be part of the decision. Namibia votes.
Okanja Park informal settlement residents are appealing to the government to provide them with basic sanitation facilities, as they have to make use of the nearby mountains when nature calls. The residents in the Okanja Park informal settlement are disgruntled over the lack of sanitation facilities in their area. Today on One caught up with some residents who expressed their dismay in the lack of basic services in the area.
Council itnada kwa ngwata mane bateki uwa mai council kaitnati rang haba ida wipa ho ne ba toilet ron of huro ingi adi huro itabai si shower ronan of ngadi yer krach roana and no kwa ngai ngai krach o yen ne ba kabika Turo get what Logas in a crack Kaiti, Kom Guhun Naraka. So they get to enough my a blended in Navidad, Bara, the Bassat, toilet plague on the end, Barek, let's go and Hamagarin, a play.
Copying one of them, water, I will neither hang and Uri toilet. See the rank of asking over the stubborn sobbing up 90 charge accommodating people crack comes about more. Couple of problems, I want a big or a couple of problems. She had a glass and tomorrow Casnera. Say, dog ranch, have I see that tune, sour to let road in it. Ask school to let road. I to let it.
Another resident, Lazarus Tautsep, said that all his life he has been living in the informal settlement and they have never received any toilets in the location. Most of the time they make use of toilets at supermarkets, service stations or alternatively the mountains.
They cut by car is it again? Sida gig, my man, I bahu, that get Carocon, that get with the top, good again. No, here, cancel at the Chanka. Have again about in a toilet at Kai. See, I may toilet to get an impet toilet, sit again, not toilet, out mouth like a school toilet and Haba. Sida again, my then I've wapa. We can't be good, I know. We've got a good unknown, you can go out again. I can eat a weird car, toilet car. Eat a toilet na whole caca. Let me again, right can eat a dog by toilet 990 by one. We've got a good I know, say, I say a kaira wiki. Let me again, I can eat a Hanuka, we eat a toilet now. Come a sida yard in a true by. And come in the case and who say, Sida come problems now one. Come caragate, come Sibarasa. Neda ko drum camera away konoras ko how de drum we got a free camera ho kai de ngu se se hui ki khadi ngu sera pedal nen hwana da to we the cancel.
The residents further argued that they don't see any development in the area and claim that only certain parts in the settlements are benefiting.
Goes down smoothly. Tafolaga, Namibian, like you.
Considered as one of the fastest growing sports in the country, horse racing has in previous years hosted successful events which brought so many people together. As an organization, telecommunications giant MTC felt the need to sponsor the Namibia Horse Racing Association with an amount of 500,000 Namibia dollars per year for the next 3 years. Manager for sponsorships and corporate affairs at MTC John Ikongo encouraged horse club owners to look after their jockeys and their horses going into competition. He further added that the birth of the MTC Derby also defines their ambition to support rural sports in the country.
To us, the Derby will represent basically our aspirations to support rural sports and also to support one sport that is synonymous with the outlying areas outside the Commerce region, and that is basically the horse racing. As mindful as that, we also like to highlight obviously that in as much as it's a good to have, we must also consider the welfare of the horses. We must also consider the plight of the jockeys. At MTC, we will not hesitate to steer colleagues in the right direction. If conversations around the welfare of jockeys and the welfare of horses are not well taken care of or properly fed or abused to the extent of pressuring their owners because you want to see your horse win. So colleagues, we obviously and glaringly ask you to please make sure that at the end of the day, in as much as the horse owner you gain satisfaction from that your horse has competed very well, conduct yourself also professionally to make sure that your jockey, your trainers, and whoever supports your endeavor is also well taken care of.
The Namibia Horse Racing Association NHRA President Martinez de Val expressed his gratitude towards MTC for sponsoring the association, as he also promised an exciting event full of fireworks, especially in the Nambrit division.
We plan to have 19 races for that day. Our race event will consist of 2 categories, which will be called thoroughbred horses and Nambrit horses. I will explain thoroughbred horses. Thoroughbred horses is horses that were imported from South Africa. Then we have the Nambrit division. It's horses that were bred here in Namibia, for all of you to understand. And it will be in 2 divisions. So it will be an event that we all can look forward to, because especially to our Nambrit category, because that's a favorite of all our people here in Namibia. It's a favorite to all our crowd, to our fans. Overall, the competition between the horses are really tough, because I personally know, I'm a horse owner. I personally know that everybody train their horses to the best ability they can. Our 2 main races for the day will be the Import Open 2,200 and the Nambrit 2,400 meter.
Speaking on behalf of the Okahachipara Turf Club and Professor Supporters Club, Timo Mujewu stated that the jockeys have prepared well and assured that they are ready for the MTC Derby, which is scheduled to take place on the 28th of November 2020, with a total of 20,000 Namibia dollars up for grabs.
Today, I'm joined by a panel of men. As per usual, we men get to talk about what we men really talk about. The program aims to make sure that what is left in the dark definitely comes to light.
I did see my father physically abusing my mother, so I didn't grow up with that I should beat a woman, because I hated what my dad did to my mom.
You know, whether this older woman does it with you, whether she, violates you, it's sort of seen that boosts your ego as a man.
Was that as a young man, I think at 17, 18, I started dating and realized that it's a very fascinating thing to have sex and so forth. So we had lots of what we call friends with benefits.
In other leading stories, the FNB Residential Rental Index shows that the 12-month moving average growth in rent prices took a dip of minus 1.3% at the end of September 2020. This brings the national weighted average rent to 7,091 Namibia dollars at the end of September, compared to 7,164 recorded over the same period in 2019. Frans Usiko, FNB market researcher, says the sudden return of the rental index growth into negative territory affirms the pass-through effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the rental market. Usiko noted that in the regions, growth in rent prices has remained bleak in towns where COVID-19 induced retrenchments have been reported, mainly due to the relatively dominance of industrial and hospitality-related sectors, adding that Walvis Bay continues to bear the brunt of a deeper contraction in rent prices, followed by Ondangwa, Rundu, Oshakati and Windhoek. The only towns that have spurred growth in rent prices are Ongwediva and Okahanja, respectively. Looking ahead, Usiku says the shortage of quality tenants is likely to remain an issue as the economy continues to grapple with a protracted economic recession. He says this signifies the dawn of a renters market, one that would compel landlords to offer competitive rates, especially in the upper market areas. And Cowan Fistball Club won its third consecutive Bank Windhoek Fistball National Cup tournament over the weekend in Swakopmund. The team successfully defended the Category A Cup, while Swakopmund Fistball Club 2 secured the Category B title. The National Cup tournament, divided into two groups, saw 9 participating teams compete for the top honours. As the current Bank Windhoek Fistball League champions, CFC1 cruised through the group stages and qualified for the semi-finals. They were followed by SKW2, who took the second spot in the group by winning against the hosts SFC2 and SFC Social, who finished 3rd and 4th place respectively. Group B, SKW1 won all its encounters without a defeat, thus topping the group. In the Category A semi-finals, CFC1 and SFC1 played each other, while the second semi-final was between the two SKW teams. At the final whistle, CFC1 had a 6-point lead and won the tournament. The team's player Bernard Schertz was named Player of the Day. And next on the Bank Windhoek Fistball League is the opening tournament, which will take place on Saturday the 13th of February 2021 in Swakopmund.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The SWAPO party welcomed 12 youth at its headquarters that had returned from the Independent Patriots for Change IPC. The youth, most of whom reside in the informal settlements of Windhoek, claimed that they were misled by the new IPC party and decided to rejoin SWAPO. They were welcomed by the SWAPO Secretary General Sophia Shaningwa and Youth League Secretary Ephraim Nekongo. Yalo said that it seems the youth only joined the IPC for positions. Tuafeni said that IPC members remain unshaken. Simeon said the youth were not part of the IPC but are getting paid to pretend. Emmanuel said if the SWAPO Secretary General wants other political parties to implement projects, then they should get funds as well. Jonas said the SWAPO SG appreciates those that return to the party. Chan said the list of names should be recorded to follow up on where they will be in a year's time. Johannes said that the ruling party is trying all it can to bring down the IPC. The Namibia hake trawl and longline fishery has become the first fishery in Namibia and the second in Africa to meet the globally recognized standard for sustainable fishing set by the Marine Stewardship Council, an environmental non-profit organization. The certification recognizes progress made by the Namibian government and fishing industry in rebuilding hake stocks, which in the past were decimated by overfishing by foreign fleets. Augustus said that the fishery might be sustainable, but the revenue generated does not benefit Namibians. He went on to say that the industry alone could lift many out of poverty, but greed and corruption has led Namibia to be a poor nation. Joel said it is possible for the sector to employ 100,000 locals. Ivers said if it was not for the fish road scandal, Namibia could have been competing at a global stage. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on TDN1.
In a time of uncertainty, false news and fear, learn on. While the world scrambles to make new sense, while the experts turn around in circles, trying to find their way back to tomorrow, learn on. When classrooms become empty cathedrals and the trees start to bear answers. Learn on. Learn on until every parent is a teacher and every teacher is a mentor. Learn on until you cross the boundaries of your mind, until you grow eyes and sprout wings. My friend, learn on. On sidewalks, on the floor, at the neighbors, in the market, in hallways, in churches, under trees, at kitchen tables, in riverbeds. Learning doesn't only happen between four walls. Learning happens in the small space of your enormous, beautiful mind. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn on one. Invite learning in.
A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior is sunny and hot in the south and west. Otherwise, partly cloudy and hot to very hot with a few thunder showers in the east, but isolated thunder showers in the northeast and far north. The coast, partly cloudy and mild with fog patches at first, and the wind fresh southwesterly to southerly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
BBC World News, the biggest African and international